He's a fintech innovator, an investor, a strategist, and president of the National Vehicle Leasing Association, whose mission is to provide education, promote legislation, maintain communication, and encourage new developments to benefit members, lenders, leasing companies, brokers, OEMs, dealers, vendors, sponsors, and consumers. We hope you enjoy this fireside chat with Tarry Shebesta, President, NVLA, where you can make new friends, grow your network, and learn from the best on ATI Auto Business. What's up, ecosystem? Welcome back to ATI Auto Business, automotive ecosystem, where everyone learns more about the automotive industry. Let's get started with some top industry news and headlines that include Blade Runner 2049 producer sues Tesla, Hyundai Mobis holograph windshield, plus leasing survey and Q4 dealership trends, all that in the news. At the quarter hour, we have Tarry Shebesta, President of the National Vehicle Leasing Association, returning president, and we're going to have a fireside chat with Tarry. We're going to get to know him more. I'll go ahead and say that, here we go. It is show 369 on a Tuesday in a row, and really excited. I've known Tarry for years, but I still am learning more about he's got a deep background that I think we're going to find industry. And I don't always do fireside chats. If you've had a meeting with me and I've talked to you more about the ATI program, I don't do that many fireside chats. But I think this is an amazing opportunity to get to know Tarry more, why he has a fintech license plate, what he's been doing all these years, what the National Vehicle Leasing Association is, how it can help you grow your business by learning more about it. We know we want to get to know more about lenders and banks and leasing companies. The NVLA provides education, promotes legislation, communication, and new developments in vehicle leasing. So you can't go wrong learning more about the National Vehicle Leasing Association. As I say, get to know your ecosystem, new, used, dealer, auction, logistics, and more. Get to know it. It will help you. It's indisputable that the more you know about the automotive ecosystem, the better you can negotiate and network, etc. To talk to ClearPath TMS. Aaron Korf was on the show. He started asking me about like my experience in media and how I really feel, which is, that's controversial. And then this week we're going to do the follow-up to Mark and I did a show. This Thursday, we're going to do Why Should You Tune Into ATI? Because many carriers... I'll just stop there. All right, let's do some news. Okay. You know me, boy, do I love cliffhangers. And here is a big one. Blade Runner 2049 producer is suing Elon Musk, Warner Brothers, I guess, over AI images. The lawsuit accuses Musk of creating AI-generated promotional materials to promote Tesla's Cybercab robotaxi. We were just talking about this great event last week, because this is a pretty recent event, and he's already stepped in at Alcon Entertainment in a lawsuit filed Monday in California federal court, accuses Elon and the company of misappropriating the movie's brand to promote its robotaxi. At its glitzy unveiling, the producer said it doesn't want Blade Runner 2049 to be affiliated with Elon Musk because of his extreme political and social views. Which, if you've seen latest headlines, I guess makes more and more sense every day. Sorry. The complaint, which brings claims for copyright infringement and false endorsement, also names Warner Brothers Discovery for allegedly facilitating the partnership. Any prudent brand considering any Tesla partnership has to take Musk's massively amplified, highly politicized, capricious, and arbitrary behavior. He's been called Boy, oh boy, he's got a lot of adverbs. I mean, yeah, he's controversial. I don't know. Still making some great stuff. Anyways, Tesla partnered with Warner's for the Robotaxi showcase done from a studio lot. Musk reached the stage in a cybercab before showing an image of a male figure wearing a trench coat as he surveys the abandoned ruins of a city, much like the movie. This image was clearly intended to read visually as an actual still from the movie in question. And Elon directly referenced, I love Blade Runner, but I don't know if we want that future. So it kind of seems the elements are there. Alcon says it wasn't informed about the brand deal until the day of the unveiling. Oh, so they were informed. But according to the complaint, Musk communicated that he wanted to associate the Robotaxi with the film. Maybe a last-minute idea, who knows? He asked the company for permission to use a still directly from the movie. The producer refused. It's not how you do it. And they're seeking unspecified damages as well as a court order barring Tesla from further distributing the disputed promotional materials. So it is kind of like Blade Runner. It's tragedy. Hyundai Mobis Zeiss push full windshield holograph video display. Hyundai Mobis is teaming with optics specialist Zeiss to turn the entire windshield into a heads-up video screen, which won't be distracting at all. Hyundai Mobis, the mega supplier to Hyundai Kia Genesis, wants to bring the big screen to the front seat with a full-width head-up display stretching across the entire windshield. The technology lets passengers watch movies, take video calls, play video games, while the vehicle data appears in the driver's line of sight. I mean, at least it's, hey man, Mario was in front of me, your officer. Honor. The holograph windshield display is being developed by Hyundai Mobis in conjunction with German optical company Zeiss. What could go wrong? It represents the next generation evolution of today's head-up displays. The breakthrough comes from pairing a micro-thin windshield film. Combination 2 enables holograph images, techie stuff. Sounds cool. Mass production early in 2027. 12 findings from latest Future of Auto Finance snapshot survey of credit unions. Let's give this a shot. This is a show lean in graph. We have 43% pessimism, 57% optimism. We are nearly 9 months into 2024. How would you describe your overall feeling about the auto finance landscape through the end of 2024? And yes, this was put out, I believe, Auto Finance Journal and Lot Links together. Maybe that's the next one. But this is Auto Finance Journal. Just before the Federal Reserve trimmed the interest rates in September. Here comes your survey. Credit unions told so it's the Credit Union Leasing of America, CULA. Their feelings, here we go. Here's some stats. 57% optimistic about auto finance landscape through the end of the year. It's not bad. 42% their auto finance portfolios are seeing a positive impact in originations from the slight year-over-year decline. Okay, so less than half. 50%, half of those seeing a positive impact, say loan volumes grew up 5% year-over-year. Not a lot. 21% of those not seeing a positive impact say origination volume has been flat. 87% say their auto finance portfolio will grow 45% or remain flat. So half grow, half flat in the next 6 months. Doesn't seem like anything's real conclusive here. 59% expect auto delinquency rate to begin to stabilize in 2025. Okay, so almost 2/3. A third don't expect auto delinquency rate to begin to stabilize till 2026. A third say they are already seeing signs of the liquidity crisis starting to decrease. 57% say the liquidity crisis will last from 6 months to 2 years. Ouch. 76% say consumers are as likely to consider leasing as they were when prices were higher because consumers are still very price conscious. Here's your takeaway. Yes, lease. Good time to lease. Plus lease returns are coming back, right? 60% think vehicle leasing as a percent of total EV purchases will continue to grow. Lease that EV. 69% believe consumers are waiting to make big ticket purchases such as vehicles, until after the presidential election. I think that should be 100%. Waiting. And auto dealer trends for the back half of 2024. Everybody's looking for a return to new normal, whatever that means. Interest rates are at a 23-year high. EVs moving slower than forecasted. You can't say that. Hybrids are back in vogue. Electric versus vehicles sold in U.S. is 1 out of 9. Don't say that. Used car market will trend upward. That's good. Marketing budgets are shifting. AI. Digital ad spending in automotive is up 11%. Purchases made at the dealership 95%. Wow. Average used car price dropped 5 year over year. Used car supply up 5% year over year. Digital strategies remain a must. It's very competitive. SUVs will experience price drops. That's good. Personalization is key. AI emerging as a go-to tool for marketers. Happening. Consumers doing research online, 95%. Wow. Given the trends, what do? Carve out a budget for AI. Return to basics as far as inventory management goes. Reevaluate your digital advertising. This one's from Lot Links. That was a good one. Great infographic. It's good stuff. And a study finds that 100% of men fantasize about launching their car off every auto transport trailer they see. 100%. A groundbreaking new study revealed a shocking insight into the masculine psyche, showing that 100% of men fantasize about launching their car off of every auto transport trailer they see while driving. According to researchers, God knows who they were, the study team had initially assumed that the phenomenon was only limited to men who happen to be driving sports cars while they blow past an empty auto transport at 15 over the speed limit, but in actuality, the fantasy extends to all men behind the wheel. This is really... Let's face it, who doesn't have it cross their mind? Okay, I have. But not every time. Our findings indicate that even somebody's crazy old uncle. What? Wants to rev up his engine, rocket off the ramp of an auto trans. Truly trans. Okay. I don't know. A follow-up study had shown that 100% of all men also fantasize about blasting out of a tunnel through a fireball in an Aston Martin before deftly stepping out in the smoldering wreckage and walking away in slow motion throwing Uzis. I added the last part. I think somebody watches too much Matrix and there's free time. Alright. Let's do some What Are You Talking About? This is my great new segment. Have you lost your damn imagination? That's right. I'm talking about your imagination, where ideas come from. I'm talking about the human artistic side of our cold, dark reality. The legit, fresh, engaging ideas that capture a living audience. One that even your cold-blooded doppelganger would be proud to partake. So how many promotions ago did you lose your creativity? I'm not talking about that pretend marketing agenda, back pat, happy clap, totally obvious LinkedIn love. That I understand. You've got Kool-Aid to drink and Kool-Aid to pour. That's business. That's automotive. But when you dress up the same old stale content, wheeling around the same old prison rations, you know everybody knows it. That's why they're scrolling on their phones right now. They're first in line to support you, but they are bored out of their gourd, ready to phone home. We all know you're interested in creating something. Everybody's doing TikToks. But therein lies the problem. You and I privately consume media that's actually interesting. So can you make some? Can you do that at the job you already have? What's your boss going to say? Your investors, your clients, your coworkers, your private club? If you actually say something interesting. Why is that risking it all? Just for whispering a hint of dissent? Heaven forbid anybody shares an actual opinion in public. Oh God, not that. And I'm not talking politics. I'm not Elon Musk. This is not a conspiracy. You need an idea? Here you go. You can still talk about the automotive industry, the shifts in the marketplace, leveraging new technologies. Heck, you can even borrow from me, numero outsider uno. And maybe I won't find out about it. Maybe I don't care. And maybe your friends will think that's cool. Great artists throughout time, songwriters, poets, photographers, and painters, learned to mimic their idols in the meager beginnings of creative endeavors. But they stopped doing it by their 5th album. So when your company spends that $2 to $5 grand on your new podcasting getup at NADA in the expo hall where everyone can see it, and it's still just a bunch of useless words we all could have read in a pamphlet on the way in, I want you to think of ATI. I said that was going to happen because it's already happened and it's going to keep happening. But by God, we're still not going to change the way we keep on putting people to sleep, because that would be an admission of wrongdoing, and there's nothing worse than admitting you got the wrong idea. And that's the memo. That is What Are You Talking About for tonight on ATI. ATI is where everyone learns more about how the automotive industry works, and clearly more than that. It is more than an automotive ecosystem. It is the alternative channel. I don't ship cars. I move information, and I'm going to keep doing it. So get the podcast. Enjoy that. Go to ATIautobusiness.com, contact me, and get ready for a fireside chat with Tarry Shebesta. He's the president of the National Vehicle Leasing Association. He'll be with me right after this, so stick around. We'll be right back.
Transport Auto Quoter is by far the leading auto quoting software on the market, and the only auto quoter with a pro version that comes preset with accurate pricing for anywhere in the U.S. So you don't have to worry about it. The best part is that no change with your current software is needed. Just plug TAQ in and start booking jobs. Carriers can easily plug TAQ into their current websites and start making money right away. I bet you're wondering how we do this instantly and accurately 24/7. Well, constant analytics is the key. Our PriceWatch team is constantly monitoring current market conditions, paying close attention to seasonal and quick-moving industry changes. At the end of the day, it takes a lot of time and data to maintain good pricing, time that most of us just don't have on a daily basis. So free yourself up. Using TAQ Pro is really a no-brainer. Save time and money, maximizing your leads and optimizing your online investments. You'll finally be able to sleep well at night knowing that TAQ is on the job selling for you 24/7. Never missing a potential job.
All right, we need to brainstorm for this commercial. How do we show our audience that we're the best auto transport platform in the industry?
Oh, we need to show them our dispatch manager. Optimizing routes has never been easier.
We should definitely show them our EDI management screen. Managing contracts is simple with ClearPath's EDI toolkit. Who doesn't want to work with the big manufacturers?
These are all great ideas, but we need to highlight what makes us special.
Sure, we can talk about all our awesome features, but the bottom line is we invest in every single one of our clients, giving them the power to scale up and increase their revenue.
That's perfect.
Auto Hauler Exchange has revolutionized the way vehicle haulers and vehicle shippers collaborate. The Exchange B2B marketplace connects vehicle haulers directly to shippers in a frictionless manner. The Exchange helps vehicle haulers maximize their capacity while eliminating empty miles. The Exchange is the first true B2B marketplace of its kind in the vehicle logistics industry. By connecting carriers and shippers directly, carriers can save time and choose which opportunities fit their needs each day. At the same time, shippers can rest assured that their vehicles are being moved by qualified, vetted carriers who fit their vetting program. The Auto Hauler Exchange has democratized the vehicle logistics industry by eliminating the middlemen and connecting shippers directly to available carriers.
Auto Hauler Exchange. Why does a broker get a percentage of every load when you clearly could be working directly with...
Which is very cool. I'm in my cigar room at home, so that's... Which is very cool. I'm in my cigar room at home, so that's... It's decked out with my guitars, cigars, and all that. So just a couple of the things I do outside of running multiple companies and being president of the National Vehicle Leasing Association. Um, I don't want to, this could take a while because I've been in the business since 1989, prior to the internet, and it was dial-up bulletin boards, and that's kind of where I started. Um, and as I started out, I was like, I knew I wanted to start a business. So I've always been entrepreneurial. And so I started a car buying service, helping people buy cars. And back in '89, there wasn't too many people out there doing that. We ended up not doing the broker route because brokers were really against the law in many states. And so we started as a buyer's agent where the customer would pay me to help them find, negotiate, price the car, and do the delivery. And it was actually crazy because actually the way I started it was I was on CompuServe, again back before the internet, on the cars forum and hanging out there and getting information about buying a car. And I thought, gosh, I could probably help people do this, right? Because a lot of people didn't have access to that information. So I decided to start ACS, Automobile Consumer Services. That's my holding company. That's a company I started in '89, still have it. And then as time progressed, people kept asking me about leasing. And I was like, oh my gosh, leasing. Okay, well, that's a new one. Yeah, this would have been in the early, probably '90s, early '90s, I guess, '93, '94. And so more and more people wanted to know about leasing. So I ended up partnering with a local leasing company, learning how to do leasing, calculating leases, learning the advantages of leasing actually versus buying. And it got to a point where we were getting more requests for leasing. So I thought, gosh, I'll just start a leasing company. So in '98, I partnered with a local franchise dealership here in Cincinnati. We started a leasing company. A year later, I bought him out. And because my focus was online, at that point, we were into the internet. And I was like, wow, I think we could make a huge impact on the marketplace if I could take the business model and move it online. So in 2000, we launched leasecompare.com. That was a website, direct to consumer leasing. I'm an independent leasing company. I could write leases for any make and model. We were actually at one point US Bank's largest leasing dealer, independent leasing dealer. So, as that was a great model. It also taught me, my background actually is information systems. So, learning computers and all that, it's kind of my technology is what I live and breathe. So, and I know this is long-winded, but I think it's kind of important to understand where I come from, okay? Because people get into this business, it's like they get a wild hair. It's like, oh, I'm going to do this. Okay, well, that's fine, but you really have to have an understanding of the whole business, the whole industry as a whole, right? So anyway, started the leasing company, ended up starting to get people, and I got this question every day. Matter of fact, actually, we had a write-up going back a little bit in 1993. This is kind of important because during the buying service era, I had a guy on a CompuServe Cars forum asked, has anybody ever bought a car online? And I replied and I said, well, we help people buy cars online through the Cars forum. And he says, well, I'm from Business Week, and I'd like to do an article on you and your business and your customers. I was like, wow, okay. So that article in Business Week in '93 put us on the map nationally. We became a national service. So as we progressed into the leasing, that same following, we got write-ups every year from publications all over the country, from Home Mechanics to Glamour to Money Magazine, to everybody was calling and asking about leasing. We did articles for Kiplinger every year. They're releasing auto industry publication. Anyway, back to the 2000s, and so I rarely saw the customer, nor did I ever see the seller of the car. We, brokered, but we were a leasing company, right? So we had leasing licenses in every state. And so we were able to use leasecompare.com to create our own business off the internet, right? So that was another important piece, right? First party leads. That's what I was focused on. And it was, and this is kind of important, we'll play a factor into later what happened, but I ended up getting more people wanting, this question was asked all the time. I've got a budget, $400 a month. I want to buy a sport utility. What should I get? Okay, think about that question to somebody that can basically write a lease on any make, any model, new and used. So that the answer to that question outside of, well, these cars suck and these cars are great. It was to the point where there really wasn't a bad car out there. Like today. I mean, there was a time where we would not lease anybody a Hyundai. Now it's one of the best makes in the marketplace. So, to answer that question, it would literally take anybody in themselves to do it, would have to visit every single make, figure out all the different models, all the different incentives, all the different rebates, all the different subsidization of lease programs to come out with a list of vehicles that meet that criteria. So I got to the point where I was like, well, we're going to create a product for that. We call it Shop by Payment. So Shop by Payment, under the company, I created True Payments, which was sold to Peer Cards in 21. We created a Shop by Payment model that nobody in the marketplace has even have come close to even duplicating. It's not sorting by payment. It's literally taking your financing, all your financing options, all the inventory in the marketplace, and all the finance lease programs available, and credit, and combining that into and returning back instantly, almost instantly, everything that a customer qualifies to buy. That made my life like incredibly easy as far as answering that question. So anyway, along those lines in 97, actually in 90, early 92, I think, 91, 92, I was asked to join there was this brochure I got in the mail, the National Vehicle Leasing Association. We're having our annual conference in Scottsdale at the Camelback. And, I probably got that in, January. And I was like, man, this is competitors. These are like almost like family. Competitors. These are like almost like family. And as we talk about NVLA, and that's obviously what this session's about, it's what I learned was the National Vehicle Leasing Association and its members, it's more about a family. And when you go and you hang out and you talk and share and learn, it's incredible. It was really an incredible experience, to the point where I think the next year, Jerry Duffy with Bancorp asked me if I'd like to be on the board. I said, wow, okay, because he's like, you know a thing or two about computers, and nobody here else does. So we think we might be able to use that experience. I was like, okay, yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. We get together every year and meetings and stuff and plan out where we're going with the organization. So, well, it ended up getting on the board, working my way through, and ended up being president in 2007 for the first time. And great experience. It was right before the industry crash, which was next year. Was not my fault, I promise. But that was the first time as being president of NVLA. And again, and I've been, and so after I was president, you usually roll off the board after a year. Well, I was asked to stay on as various roles on the board, and I've been on ever since. And now here I am again, president again, and now we're at 2-year terms. So 2024, this year I'm president, next year I'm president. So that's kind of the history, and I'll take a second here to take a drink.
Well, thank you. I thought it was a great history in that. So, what I did is I looked at a couple things because yes, we've talked, we know each other, we got to have a cigar. Isn't that funny that we had a cigar like at Auto Intel Summit,
Mm-hmm.
and it was probably 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're sitting here, right? That's funny.
Yeah.
It is. So, and we've talked a couple times, and then I saw there was a LinkedIn article. Maybe you sent it to me. I can't remember. Industry Game Changers, Tarry Shebesta's Path to Innovation, that talks about your journey in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. By the way, I wanted to ask you, do you know the movie Pirates of Silicon Valley?
I think so.
It's a Bill Gates story.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
awesome.
sure that was the name of it, but yeah, no, and
Yeah.
and it gives
It talks about the Altair, right?
yeah,
That's kind of right. That's kind of like you. So you had in '78, you had a class, information systems, I guess.
actually it was my
Was this
friend's
first.
my friend's my neighbor, his mother thought it would be great to take us to a computer class, and it was, they had the TRS-80, Radio Shack TRS-80, they had the Apple, and they had the Commodore, I think, and it was just an introduction to computers. That was all it was, and it was interesting enough to the point where his mother bought him one. I ended up getting a color computer. But I was self-taught all
Did you have a Woz? Right?
Yeah. So then I ended up getting,
Dual floppy?
Yeah, well, the first, you ready for this? The first hard drive I got was a 5 megabyte, and it was as big as, it was like this, it was huge and weighed probably 30 pounds. And it was like $500, right? A lot of money for a 5 megabyte. But that, I remember that I don't even know where that thing is. It's probably somewhere.
And we don't want to. If we go too far back, we'll lose anybody under 50. So, but your moment. I always say one of my early moments was a friend of mine in high school in the late 80s. He plugged his VCR into his computer, and it blew my mind. I still remember it.
Yeah.
So, we all have these moments where we're like, okay, wait, that is, right? That's different. And then it also, so, man, in the 90s, in 89, 90, or 91, and you're doing online car buying, CompuServe, that blows my mind.
Well, I started my own bulletin board service.
Yeah, wow.
And sold cars on that before the internet, right? And Boardwatch Magazine did an article. I have it on the site, on ACS Corp site, the history of ACS, and they did an article saying, "Wow, this bulletin board car buying sounds like a great idea for a business model," and it was a lot of fun.
Oh man, that is so ahead of its time.
But I remember going to the one BBS Con in Atlanta, and this had to be in '93, I think it was, 92, 90. No, it was around 93. We go there, one BBS, one Bulletin Board Service conference. And on the fringe, some of the sessions were about the internet. And they were talking about the internet, and I'm thinking, gosh, this would be great to take the bulletin board to the internet, right? And everybody was like, no, don't even say that. The internet is non-commercial. It is not going to be for commercial purposes. Don't think about it.
Wow.
Talk about it.
Wow. Wow.
And I was like, yeah, whatever.
And I went to BBS Con this year. No. Right. Okay, so all right, so that's awesome stuff, and I guess you said, okay, I took a note here. Then it was in the 90s. Then you're being asked about the leasing. Okay, so that's a lot of experience with leasing, online car buying. By the way, it's not lost on me when I see, is it CarMax? You make the deal yourself and the guy's jumping around with his phone and he's doing the slider on the payments. Okay, yeah, didn't you show me, like you just said, didn't you show me more than that 5 years ago?
Yeah, so that's a lot of the stuff that you're seeing now so in 2000 we had automated payment quoting. I didn't have to so I was doing manual. What happened was in 98 we would go to LeaseLink and do the calculations, get an email request, email the customer back with their lease payments, and I'm like, well, there's no way to scale that. So that's why I automated it to do automated quoting. But in 2000, we had to let the customer tell us what they thought their credit score was. Okay. Well, there's an inherent problem with that, because even if you think you know what your score is, it's usually not the same auto-enhanced score that we use at the dealership. So you never want to give the customer their score anyway, even if once you give it to them, they're off and shopping, so now they know their score, right? But so we had to start out because a lot of the stuff that I thought about was not even available. The technology wasn't there, the data wasn't there. So in the middle 2000 or around 2010, I started doing soft pulls, automating the credit process instead of the customer having to tell me what their score was, which if you look in the marketplace today, that's literally 95.9% of the models that are out there. They're asking for somebody to put their credit score. Okay, well that's I don't even want to have that conversation, because that's so 20 years. I mean,
buying a house, yeah, I've got a 9,000 score.
It's like anybody would ask that. So anyway, we automated the process of pulling the soft pull, get the full bureau, the score, do the whole decisioning engine through a waterfall of different lenders, and producing the payments in real time. So that was another big technological feat that we were able to do.
So then, I'm sure somebody's thinking, okay, well, so can you guys talk about something modern, right? You had the acquisition in 2021, and you were president first time around in 2007
of NVLA, yes.
Right. So all right. So here you're back, and let's do this. Let's go to the conference that didn't happen, and we'll find our way to merge back into what's going on now. Right. So what just happened with, was it Hurricane Milton?
Yeah, it's very sad, and although we had to cancel the conference because it was going to be in Clearwater last week, we had to cancel it. It was sad that we had to cancel it, but it's even more sad for what happened to the people in that area, not with just Milton hurricane, but Helene hurricane in North Carolina. Those are the ones those are the people that we really need to think about. Yeah, it hurt us. It hurt our ability to have the conference, but when you look at the whole scheme of things, it's really it's the impact that happened to the people that we really need to think about, and trying to have a conference, even if it was able to happen, it wouldn't have been the same.
Yeah. So I'm with you. So I'm in Kansas City. I'm not seeing firsthand. It's interesting. You can see something in the news, but the news is always so crazy anyways, it just kind of gets mishmashed into it. Are you in that area?
No, I'm in Cincinnati.
You're in Cincinnati. I know. I was talking to Dave Sutton earlier today. He is down in Florida. He was saying that he was in an area that was fine, but I know that a week or two ago he was helping with preparation just to put a final note on it, is there still activity happening down there right now, or are we're in between storms? Does that sound right?
As of this last week, power was still out at the hotel.
Power's still out?
So I'm as president, I get updates pretty frequently of what's going on because of the association and all. But the last report was, there nothing going in, going out, and still power issues around, and pool not open. It's just it's a mess.
Well, that's brutal. When you don't have power, I mean,
right?
Wow. All right, so you were going to have a conference, and 2 days?
So yeah, it would have started. It would have been Wednesday, Thursday, full days. Tuesday,
last week,
Monday, Thursday, and then part of Friday. Last week. So and it was a conference that. One of the reasons me being on the board so long, I have a long history of knowing, the history of NVLA, right? Because I was there at the 40th, my first term as president, it was the 40th anniversary of NVLA. And so, that was 17 years ago. So now we're further along, and, it's easy because members retire, although we have a lot of legacy where, again, as I mentioned, it's kind of like a family type organization. When you go to an NADA or something, it's a lot of people. Even conferences we go to, we know people, but this is like family. They're most of them are owners of the companies that are members, and then a lot of the businesses are passed down through generations. There's mergers and acquisitions that go on, but I've been able to be kind of that constant. Oh, well, what did we do 10 years ago? So back to what I was about to talk about was the conference this time around. I really wanted to bring back, because we had the industry crash, and we did not have a conference in 2008 or 2009 after the crash. And then we recovered from that somewhat, right? That was tough on our organization. It was tough on the whole industry, right? But it was definitely tough on independent leasing companies. And so we started to continue to build back up. Well, then we had COVID. So we ended up having to cancel that conference. So, it's been kind of rough to kind of, you start going and then boom, you get hit again, you start going. But I wanted to make a fast start from COVID as president and bring back a lot of the things that we used to do at previous conferences that just made it just that much more fun. And so this year was going to be part of instilling some of those past traditions that we did. We had an incredible lineup of speakers and content and sponsors and exhibitors. It was just going to be an amazing event for the leasing industry.
Man. So, all right. So, conference.
Right.
Now it is. Well, we could do this.
Yeah. And
okay.
we're still working through that. We had one of the biggest, our keynote was Michelle Mace-Curran, a former Thunderbird fighter pilot. And we actually a few years ago had an astronaut. It was name in a minute, maybe. I know it, but I'm kind of on this train of thought now. But having a former Thunderbird fighter pilot, think about that. And now, any Thunderbird fighter pilot is amazing, but Michelle, she's it's a step above amazing. She's incredible, and we were so excited to have her come and talk about her experiences, and it's going to hit with everybody, but I think women too. I look at can I sidetrack for a second?
You can do anything you want. It's your fireside chat.
Still going.
Yeah, still going.
Um, look, here's what I want to say. This is, and I think this is important because, we're seeing in our industry as a whole more involvement of women, and I think that's phenomenal. And I'll tell anybody this, and some of you have already heard me say this before. I love working with women, okay? And a couple of reasons. One, no egos. When you work with men, unfortunately, especially in the auto industry, it's like the egos are off the charts. Nobody wants to work with anybody. Everybody thinks they can do everything on their own, and it's not conducive, right? It's not conducive to an environment of bringing things forward and helping consumers and dealers. But when I work with women, there's no egos. It's not like so it's very refreshing. And the other aspect is they want to get stuff done. It's about getting things actually accomplished. So you combine those two things, no egos and actually getting stuff done. Wow, how refreshing and exciting is that? Matter of fact, through the history of my companies, ACS, True Payments, which I sold, we had more female workers than male. Okay, and there'll be some pretty cool announcements coming up at the beginning of the year. Our COO of FlexPath is a woman, so that's going to be an announcement in January. She's going to run the company, so very excited about that. So anyway, I didn't mean to get off on that tangent. So
well, no, but I'm glad you said that. I mean, you just expressed an opinion you're passionate about, and then you stated your case. I'm glad you did. I mean, I think that obviously there's a lot happening with women's groups and women's lunches and women's sessions, and it makes you wonder why wasn't it always right? Why wouldn't you always have?
Yeah, that's
right.
That you can go down that path. We have women in leasing within our organization. Yeah. Sloan heads that up, and you don't even have to be. If you can spell leasing, you can be a part of that or that group of women that get together. So whether it's a supporting vendor, or you're in the leasing business, or you're a franchise dealer, that you're a salesperson, that you're a female salesperson, you can be a part of that, of our NVLA Women in Leasing.
So we talked a little bit about the conference, and okay, let's go to, you talked about goals, you talked about mission. What do you want to see happen? What's something, you could say, a goal of mine is this?
For NVLA?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, because that's what we're talking. I mean, I have lots of goals and ideas.
Right. Okay. Sure.
Right. I mean, yeah. How much time do we have? Right.
Yeah.
So no.
Depends on how many cigars you have. Go ahead.
So off screen here is 7 foot by 4 foot humidor.
No.
Yeah, it's huge.
Oh, golly.
Yeah. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So goals for NVLA. One of the main goals is, there's two main goals I have that coming back as president I really want to foster, and that one is, so in the past, historically, the NVLA, the National Vehicle Leasing Association, has primarily been made up of independent leasing companies, independent lessors, independent banks, which is great. And it leaned more toward the commercial side of the business, fleet and commercial. Great. But when you take a step back, and most of my business over the years in the leasing direct to consumer, it's probably been about 80% consumer, right? 20% commercial. So we're all over the place as members of NVLA. Sure that we're servicing everybody in the leasing business, not just independents, but franchise dealers, because and this ties into my second goal, and that's the education. When I go visit a dealer and talk to a dealer about my other technology with FlexPath, in Veriqual is I talked to a dealer and I asked them, what is your lease penetration? And you get the 20, 15, 20, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30%. And I say, if you're to a dealer, if your lease penetration is not north of 85%, there's a problem. And it's not about tricking people into leasing a car. Did this for a living for years, and I had to do it by phone. I had to talk to the customer and explain to them the advantages of leasing. Not tricking somebody. It's not about tricking somebody into leasing, but showing them the actual value of leasing. And that's another hour-long conversation, because there's really no reason to buy a car versus lease, especially when we're talking about the technology that's changing so fast in the cars today. You got EVs, you got safety features. It's changing so fast that you never want to own old technology, right? You're going to lose. You're going to take the depreciation. It's better to buy, or I'm sorry, it's better to lease so that you have the latest and greatest. And there's like 20 other reasons that we can go into that. Maybe that's for another show. But
that's a really good one. Yeah.
Education and membership, expanding the membership of NVLA to include not just independents, but the franchise dealers. Because, you ready for this? The franchise dealers that are listening, the NVLA, most of our members, actually all of our independent members, have to buy a car from somebody, right? We don't manufacture. We're not a franchise. We are independents. We have to use dealerships to buy cars from. So the more franchise dealers that are members, the more our members that are looking to buy cars are going to use those as the first resource to acquire those cars for their customers. And the other piece for franchise dealers, and they're not that, most franchise, it was funny back in the day when I was a buying service, who would I call at the dealership to get a car? It was the fleet department. I would call them because they could care less about financing the car, right? How fast can you pick it up? As soon as I mentioned, oh, well, they're interested in leasing, you could just hear the balloon. It was like, are you kidding me? Now I got to go to talk to somebody about getting you a lease quote? No, just pick up the car, right? You're getting a great deal on this car through a fleet. Just pick it up. You take care of it. My point is, the NVLA members that are in the commercial leasing side of that and they do a lot of help. They help a lot of franchise dealers with their commercial part of their business with the leasing, commercial leasing. So it's a perfect fit for the organization, and it's a perfect fit for all groups involved.
So I think, we talked about how this show can serve as a pilot, as a potential series. And I think what I just heard was the campaign of the series, which is, well, you said, what is your lease penetration? And I'm hearing, and here's why, right? Like you just said, education. But I think that there's a lot of people that could use more education about leasing, because what you just said about tech, and this gets into your experience. By the way, I saw also in your bio, you're also associated with what? Hydrogen fuel. So you've looked, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you've looked and you're saying you're going to take it in the depreciation of the tech, I'm guessing somebody who was online in '89 knows what they're talking about.
What's that commercial? I've been around a little bit, so I know a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And what I think we'll do is we're gonna talk a little bit more, but I think we're gonna kind of leave that. One of our goals tonight, we had talked, right? Hey, let's make some content. I like to also talk about the creative process a little bit. I'm not going to go ad nauseum, but I give a little speech here and there. That the creative process in itself, I think, has gotten pretty watered down. And I think here's my prediction. I think that AI, for folks that have just watered down ideas, AI is going to wash it all away. You won't need watered down ideas anymore.
Don't get me started on AI because it's
Right.
we're now in generative AI neo personas. If you had said that to me a couple months ago, I would have been like, yeah, whatever. But now it's we're working with another company that's what they're doing, using some of our technology of Veriqual, which is credit pre-qualification and identity verification with just a phone number. That's a whole nother cool thing. But they're using that, and I'm learning how they're doing it, and I'm like, wow. I like ChatGPT and I use it. It helps. I write stuff and it helps me validate. But AI, and I can't remember who I told this to, but right now, it might have been a post I did. What I'm seeing right now in our industry is the same level of technological advances that I saw in the 90s with the first .com bust. Okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm seeing that right now. Like right now.
We are in the next. This is the next internet.
It is.
Which sounds kind of nutty.
It is.
And that sounded nutty back then, right?
It's where we are.
It is where we are.
It's funny.
We have to embrace it.
Yeah. Well, you see everybody talking about AI now, right? And yeah. And there's nobody training about AI. All these trainers, they're not training AI because they don't even know about it, right? They don't know enough about it, and it's incredible. I'm learning. I'm absorbing this like a sponge because this is like it's rejuvenating my excitement in the technology that I've always been involved with, right? So taking what I built, partnering with AI. Whoa, it's crazy cool.
So, and I'm now sharing one of my AI go-to sources is AI Marketing Institute. Okay, so there's now that one. For what it's worth, I like some of the folks that speak from AI Marketing Institute. All right, so we got education about education about vehicle leasing, and then vehicle leasing AI would be two main areas where we could probably find a lot of content. And then within that, I like how you kind of laid out some of that family, how the family grows within the association and the companies, and maybe there's an inroad into other content that's relevant to the association that hasn't been explored yet.
Oh, it's especially since we didn't have the conference. So
right.
I got to get between now and we have our next conference, which we haven't even finalized that yet. It's probably not going to be this year. So it's going to be next year. And now we have to decide we're going to move the conference that was in. We don't know what we're doing yet. But the content that we created for this conference, speakers, sponsors, exhibitors, and that, I got to get that to membership and to the industry as a whole, because even if you're, like I said, even if you're not an NVLA member, this is cool stuff. I mean, Tom Contos, he's retiring this year. He was going to speak. We had Experian, Melinda was Experian. We have Black. We have so many different companies that, we handpick, and it's not about, I just want to sponsor. No, you got to bring something to the table. This is not about a pay to play. You're bringing something to the table that's going to help our membership. You're going to help the industry as a whole, right? So it's good stuff that we're going to bring out, and hopefully, Jay, you'll help us be able to do that in the coming months.
Awesome. I'm up for it. Let's see here. I'll let you go soon. I'm looking at my notes. I guess I could be at. Let's drum roll, please.
Well, if everybody's going to live.
Final thoughts.
Yeah.
Final thoughts is an interesting segment because well, it's the end. It signifies the end. But I've taken some notes. I got some ideas here, and I know you've got ideas. And you kind of just said a final thought, so I'm milking for a second final thought, which is typical. All right. So how about this? When are you going to be at Used Car Week?
I will be at RVDA because we're also in the RV in the marketplace,
Ooh.
power sports. We're in heavy truck. We're in power and mowers and tractors. We're servicing all those. So I'll be at RVDA and Used Car Week. And the last day of Used Car Week, I usually put on a dinner for anybody that's usually left over after the conference, because I have an Airbnb locally that I stay at that's a mile away, and they're like family themselves. And so it's great to be, and I have the whole house, and it's so amazing. It's ridiculous. And I cook all the food. And it's top shelf food, top shelf wine, everything's top shelf. This year, I think I'm going to do more of a cocktail party because there'll be probably more people than I'll be able to do for a sit down dinner, but it's going to be something you don't want to miss. So ping me if you're going. I'll be around.
Yeah. It's on Thursday. You're doing that Thursday?
Thursday evening. There'll be a fire pit, cigar.
I missed it a year ago. I'm going to miss it again because I got to leave Wednesday. I'm actually leaving early. I just have to get back.
Use game or something?
It's school stuff and the kids.
All that stuff.
I know. What are you going to do?
Well,
I got one still in high school. So I one of these years, I want to stick around and I want to hang out with you.
I'm thinking about doing it more often at different conferences.
Yeah.
So more of that to come later.
That's a cool idea, and actually a throwback to, and maybe this is the since we get back to where we started, is when I met you in 2019, and you made me think when you said 2001 NVLA, I'll go check it out. Boy, that sounds just like what I said in 2018 or 2019. I'll go to Auto Intel Summit. I'll go check it out, and yeah, there I was hanging out with you by the fire pit, and I say this all the time. What you find at a conference, you couldn't predict. You just can't. You can't get to all of them. There are a lot of conferences now, aren't there?
Yeah, and I missed Auto Finance Summit because I was dealing with the hurricane with NVLA, which was the week before NVLA conference, so I missed that one too. But yeah, I'd like to go to them all because I just enjoy it. I like sharing and talking shop, and then doing my cooking. On the NVLA, I do the president's message every month, and then I do a recipe every month. So we publish that. And
really?
Oh yeah. And
what kind of recipes do you have?
It's a variety of stuff. Everything from I cook everything from scratch, and then I do a lot of Italian cooking, veal parms, different ragouts, but I also use the Instant Pot. I use other tools that help me, and I like to share that with other people. So we do a recipe every month on there. So I started cooking for our NVLA board when we got together, our annual strategy meetings. We would get together for 3 or 4 days and just figure out what we're doing, and then I would just do all the cooking, whether it's grilling or whatever. And so they bought me this apron, NVLA Master Chef, and then so that's that.
That's awesome. So we'll do like a cooking segment.
We could do that too.
I love to cook. I love wine.
So I would show you my wine cellar. We just did.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's.
What are you into?
Well, mostly Italian wines, but I have almost a full case of Chateau Margaux, which is a French Bordeaux. Anybody that knows what that is, it's a
sure.
Wow. So the Bordeaux's
a case,
almost a full case. I
whoa.
Split it. Some of it had to. It was a buy when I sold the company that we got that from. But Bordeaux, I love great buys. There was you ready for this? This is off the path, but I don't know if anybody has a Meyer store. They had this month. They had a Stag's Leap Artemis with
Stag's Leap,
Northern
Cal.
They had it with the you buy the 6 bottles discount, like $43.
That's north of Napa, right? Stag's Leap?
Yeah,
I think so.
but it's also north of $100 a bottle, right? One.
Yeah.
So I have some old ones that are now $300. So I ended up buying I got almost 2 cases. I went to all the Meyer stores and just gobbled them up. Like,
Wow, that's so cool.
you don't see deals like that, right?
You have a cellar. Do you have a cellar?
I do. It's
Wow.
yeah.
Cigars and wine?
Cigars
My
and
gosh,
wine.
that's what I'm into.
Well, you'll be fine right here.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah.
Boy, I'm gonna miss
Bourbon
your
bar.
dinner again.
Got a
Man,
bourbon
that's-
bar now.
What do you? Oh, so you got a bourbon. What are you drinking?
Right now, I'm just drinking Woodford.
Oh God, Woodford's the best. We actually at Used Car Week last year, we were doing a head-to-head bourbon tasting. Me and some of the other guys. I know we had S&A Communications was there, Assertus was there, and we were doing Woodford was one of the bourbons, and it might have been the winner, which is interesting because in a blind taste test, right? You don't pick the most expensive. Not all the time, right?
No. It's like wine, cigars, and half of this case here is Cuban cigars. So there's
Awesome.
It's all. It's great.
Oh man, that's awesome. Okay, quick story. I had a Cuban cigar with Sam Jones, the star of Flash Gordon, on a movie set. Pretty cool.
Whoa.
True story. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That is.
Oh man, I was just a young sprite. So all right, well listen, Terry, I think we got some good stuff. What do we do next? I know we'll talk about this offline, but this is live teaser. What do we do next?
No, the next is I want to bring all the NVLA content that we had and get everybody on the show. I just think this is the way to do it. I really do. It's not about just a webinar or that. It's really the interaction and you being able to put together, something that can really drive it home.
So we'll need to we'll have a meeting where we talk about that, and then we talk more about kind of more of the particulars of the board or whatever, and without getting too far in the weeds, but trying to figure out what's the fastest way to satisfy the most people.
Yeah.
And so once we figure that out, we might have something that we can, keep building upon. But I think you said it on the vehicle leasing education, vehicle leasing AI, and then the people, and we'll just grow it from there. So yeah.
Okay.
So let's set a meeting. Used Car Week's coming up. Should I just see you at Used Car Week, or do you want to talk again before
we'll
that?
talk before that next week for sure.
All right. So send me an email.
Okay.
And I'll put you in touch with my people.
Yeah, and if you don't have people,
which is me.
If you don't have people, we'll get you some people.
Okay. Let's do that. I need to get some people. Terry, that was an amazing fireside chat by a fireside. Thank you, Terry. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it.
I'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
Okay, I'll just end the meeting, and that's a cut. Awesome. That was pretty neat. I've learned that I drone on and on at the end of the show, so I just want to thank Superflow Systems, ClearPath TMS, Auto Haul Exchange, Murphy Auto Transport, and of course, Tarry Shebesta and the National Vehicle Leasing Association. Thank you for jumping in the live chat. Thank you for watching on demand. And I really appreciate you. I thank you for tuning into ATI. That is show 369 on a Tuesday night in the can. Terry is giving me a call. But Terry, I'll call you back. We'll talk soon. All the whatnot and the whoop whoops and all that other cool stuff that all the cool kids say. All right, Jay, take it easy. You already gave your speech. Put a button in it. Thank you, everybody. Please do, if you like what you see, it's not for everybody. But if you like it, Please tune in again. We'll see you soon. We got our show Thursday. Me and Mark talking about... What are we talking about? We had a catchy slogan. What was it? Oh, why you should watch ATI. Jeez, Jay. Thanks so much. Here comes the car hauler. Have a good night. Talk to you soon.